Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. I apologise for the delay in making this episode, just had a few things to do unfortunately. So the purpose of today's episode is to find the soul of a giant by entering said giant's memory. And in order to do that you need the Ashen Mist Heart, which you get from speaking to the ancient dragon in Dragon Shrine. Once you've done that, warp to the Forest of Fallen Giants, Cardinal Tower. Come to this strange tree-like looking structure, which is just next to where we spoke to Pate for the first time. Once you approach this, you will see a prompt to examine it, and in a bizarre kind of fashion you get to enter the memory of a giant, and the giant in this case is Vammar. That's his name, or its name. So once you come in here, you're limited to 5 minutes, I believe it is, and then you're chucked out of the memory. So make the best use of your time while you're in here. If you speak to Drummond, this is Captain Drummond, and we've seen him, his name referenced in a number of item descriptions throughout the game. So we're getting some. This is important dialogue.
It was then that the golems materialized. The giants are no ordinary barbarians. A singular rage burns within their hearts. My father and his father both fought the giants on this very
So
land.
clearly it's an ongoing conflict, it's been happening for a long time.
Have wills of steel.
So Vendrick must have been on the throne for a while.
To forgive the misdeeds of our Lord.
And it's interesting, Drummond actually kind of gives a surprisingly non-partisan account of the source of the conflict. He mentions Vendrick crossing the sea, appropriating a great treasure, returning it to Drangleic, and then afterwards the golems, made their first appearance in Drangleic. So I think there's a clear link there, or a suggestion of a clear link between whatever it was that Vendrick crossed the sea to steal from the giants, and this item that obviously gave artificial life to animated objects that were basically inanimate or beings, as we've seen throughout Drangleic. Okay, so that was the first giant we took on. Each giant has, how much? 1375 health points. I think that's a general. Yeah, I think most of them do. And you get 800 souls for killing them. This is obviously the unhygienic member of the group. This one with the kind of poisoned hand. He can toxic you when he hits you, and he throws poison at you. They're not actually terribly difficult giants. They're only kind of difficult if you get surrounded by a few of them. You actually learn to just run past them if you have to enter the memories more than once. Because once you've actually picked up the items that they're kind of guarding, you really don't need to keep engaging them in conflict. You can just run past them and make your way to an area that's more useful given the short amount of time you have in here. So you come in here, you see a nice set piece. We see Drangleic's, or King Vendrick's soldiers and infantry taking on the giants, and we know from our period of time, the type period of time that we came from. Get a nice backstab there in the giant, and you can backstab them, that's another thing, and poison them. We know that the infantry and soldiers that we fight in the Forest of Fallen Giants are hollowed versions of the ones that defended the fort, and where we are just now is actually in the Forest of Fallen Giants, because it's basically a derelict fort when we encounter it for the first time in Dark Souls 2. But you'll see familiar landmarks when we go through this memory. It's actually, the memories are very, very short, to be honest with you. I think they're an interesting mechanic. I don't know how I feel about the time limit. Obviously it gives you an impetus to move through the memory quickly, and but I don't know if it worked very well. I think most people just take their time and do it piece by piece. I was very lucky to survive here, obviously left with a sliver of health. I hope you guys are enjoying the DLC, because obviously the DLC is out now. These guys, these are pyromancer giants, and they're up on top of the roof, and you've just got to be careful with them. There's actually a ladder over to the right that allows you to get up onto the roof of the building opposite them, and you can either just run past the whole set piece and then jump off the roof at the end, or you can just, if you want to, take them on. I'd advise probably taking them all on at one point or another, just to get a feel for how you fight them. I think running through this area the very first time, it's not a good way of experiencing the game, but it's your game, it's up to you. So this giant is there's two of these big massive club building giants in here, and this one's guarding the Giant Warriors Club. The Giant Warriors Club, I'm not sure, I think I've used it once or twice. I believe the malformed skull and shell is better. Off to the left here, so opposite end from where we just picked up the Giant Warriors Club, you'll find the Blossom Kite Shield. And this is a stamina regen shield, just like the Slumbering Dragon shield that I use sometimes. But that shield there, the Blossom Kite Shield, is really not worth it. I think it's only like 3% increase in your stamina regen. So, if you come up here to where the Pyromancer giants were, there's a large soul of a giant hero. Soul of a giant hero, which I think is 20,000 souls, so it's definitely worth coming up there to get that, and the Bonfire Ascetic. And if you come out here, this is actually the area, you can see over there to the right, this is actually the area where, below the Cardinal Tower, where the tunnel or pit is to the Fire Salamander, and you go in and you get the Fire Longsword or whatever it is. So this is where this is. And this is the stairs. You need the King's Ring to access, well, we'll talk about that. Basically, there's an item that you can see from Cardinal Tower that's hard to get to, and you get to it a wee bit later on. Anyway, so I came back here. I had to leave, I think, because I get tossed out the memory. But I came back, and now I've got a poison katana. No, the poison manslayer. Sorry, that's what I've got. Decided to take this guy on using that. And you can see the giant off to the right there. Yeah, the one that's dead. That's whose memory this belongs to. We're inside his memory, or its memory, and we want to take the soul take that giant soul, Vammar's soul, and we're going to use those souls to take out Lord Vendrick. You'll remember in previous episodes I mentioned that he's got very high defences, but you can lower Vendrick's defences by collecting giant souls. You really need like 4 of them, or I'd suggest probably 5 if you want to make it really easy. And then you take them on. And but yeah, the DLC, not enjoying it as much as the Crown of the Sunken King, but it's still good. It's good to have new Dark Souls content, and we'll see how it goes. It's early days. I've only kind of got to the second or third bonfire. So this is what we came for, Soul of a Giant. And there's 2 other Giants memories, and one other memory that you get access to by going back to where you fought the Duke's Dear Freya. So there we go, second Giant Soul. And just be careful when you come back in here, these guys have respawned. So when you're tossed out the memory, all the enemies are respawned. Thanks for watching, hope this helped.